Matt Dowling on ABC Goulburn Murray.
This is Radio Nowhere. Is there anybody alive out there? This is Radio Nowhere. Is there anybody alive out there?
Now, meteorites, they are often the subject of Hollywood blockbuster movies as they hurl towards the Earth, threatening mass destruction or even extinction. But what do we actually know about these masses of rock and iron that are flying around the cosmos? And what are the chances that one day a really big one could hit our planet? My next guest knows a thing or two about meteorites. His name is Trevor Hand. He's an avid amateur astronomer and also a meteorite collector. He is also the guest speaker at a meeting of the Astronomical Society of Benalla tonight, or the Benalla Astronomical Society. And Trevor Hand is with us now. Trevor, good morning.
Good morning, Matt.
How did this interest, or would you call it an obsession with meteorites start?
Oh, maybe not quite an obsession, but an interest anyway, yeah.
How did it begin?
Well, I was looking for a present for my a milestone birthday, and I found a meteorite on the internet, and I decided I wanted that as my present, and that started it all. So since then I've acquired probably a few dozen different meteorites over the years.
So you can buy them on the internet?
Yes. My big one, the first one I bought, costs about $100 a pound.
Which is that expensive as far as meteorites go? I'm trying to compare it to something like truffles.
No, this particular one is quite cheap. Some of the other meteorites that I'll have tonight, they're actually worth about 50 times their weight in gold.
Wow. So I gather they're not too big.
No, they're not too big, but they're where they come from is pretty impressive. I think if anyone comes to the talk tonight, they'll be amazed at some of the things they'll be able to hold in their hands. How
do they get verified as genuine meteorites, and perhaps not just something someone dug up out of the ground? What's the verification process, Trevor?
Yeah, well, a lot of the common meteorites, of course, they'll be in a crater of some sort or in an area near a crater, and usually they've got some sort of scorch marks or something like that, or there'll be a type of rock that is not native in the area, so it'll look completely different. A lot of the meteorites are found in the Antarctic or in the Sahara Desert, so you can imagine if you're walking along the Antarctic and there's no stones for miles and miles, and there's this great big rock with burn marks on it, you can be pretty sure that it came from outer space rather than just happening to sit there.
Because the fact is too, our planet in its early days, it was bombarded by meteorites, wasn't it?
Yes, it would have been bombarded constantly. Fortunately, we weren't around at that time to feel the impacts of it, but yeah, there was. In the early days, there would have been meteorites coming in all the time, and at the moment, as you said, they still keep landing, and hopefully there's none with our name written on it heading our way.
Well, I was going to ask you about that. I mean, Hollywood, of course, gets great mileage out of the doomsday scenario, but the fact is, well, they talk about the dinosaurs being wiped out by a meteorite, so it's not beyond the realms of possibility, is it?
No, it's not. Of course, NASA and a lot of other bodies constantly view the skies looking for any rocks heading our way, but quite often, though, they don't actually see it coming until quite late. There was one just a few years ago that they only saw a few days before, and they were able to predict the course, and they could work out that it was going to hit the Earth, and they estimated that it would hit somewhere in North Africa, which it did. But it was quite small. It was maybe, before it hit the Earth's atmosphere, perhaps the size of a house, which is actually quite small, and something like that, most of it will burn up before it hits the Earth. And in fact, before this one crashed, it had broken up, and it just scattered meteorites all over the Sudan in Africa, and a number of people, particularly air pilots, saw it coming in, but because of the area it landed, there were no actual witnesses to see where it landed, but that was quite small, so we were in no danger with that particular one, but just highlights the fact that there could be one coming and we don't see it until practically the last minute, and there's nothing much we can do about it.
Well, the last minute being the last few days? Or something?
The last few days, so it may still be further than the moon away, much further than the moon, but in a few days it can travel that sort of distance, and we can't exactly move the Earth, so we just have to hope that it goes around and just misses us.
It wasn't so terrifying. You have to have a bit. I want. How big would a meteorite have to be to do real major sort of damage to the Earth and to its population?
Well, the one that they believe wiped out the dinosaurs is only about, well, it sounds big, 10 kilometres across, so it's much, much bigger than Ayers Rock. But if you compare a rock that size to the whole of the Earth, it's actually quite small.
And it did all that damage.
And that was sufficient to have wiped out the dinosaurs and a very large percentage of all other life. So something even just that relatively small size could easily wipe us out, and even if we knew it was coming, there's nothing we could do to change it unless we had years of notice. So. Gee,
Trevor, I'm wondering if you can tell me something to cheer us up this morning now after all that. But I mean, look, it is fascinating stuff. I mean, the fact is the universe is big and there's lots of bits and pieces flying around everywhere, isn't there?
Yeah,
I guess it's the sheer scale and size of the universe that also has kept us safe to this point, to the extent that there's a lot of room out there for things to fly around. But it sounds fascinating, this collection of meteorites you've got. Now, I have heard from someone that you also have a moon rock, do you? And I wondered, I thought NASA protected their moon rocks, or has this come from another source? Or?
Yeah, well, you're quite right there. All of the rocks that were brought back from Apollo are not available. You can't buy them. They're owned by museums and governments. However, there are meteorites that we know have come from the moon, and you can buy those over the internet, and I have. So, and these are verified because they can examine the type of rock in meteorites like this, and they know that they're exactly the same as the rocks that they brought back from the moon. So they know they're actually pieces of the moon, and I'll have one of my lunar meteorites with me tonight, so people that come along can actually hold a real piece of the moon in their hands. And meteorites like this, as you can imagine, are quite rare. And these are the types of meteorites that are valued at 50 times their weight in gold. So my particular sample in this case is only about the size of your thumbnail and less than a millimetre thick.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, it makes gold practically worthless when you compare it to value.
I imagine you keep your eye on it pretty carefully, do you?
Yeah, actually, I've mounted it in a large photo frame so it won't fit in people's pockets.
No.
But, most people are very honest, and they're just excited to be able to hold a real piece of lunar real estate in their hands.
True. It's like the key at the service station for the toilet. They give it to you attached to something ridiculously big, so you won't make off with it. But,
yes. Well, my large meteorite, I don't think they'll carry off. It weighs 11 kilograms.
Oh,
okay. It takes two hands to carry. So I think their pants would fall down if they tried to put that in their pockets.
We're talking to Trevor Hand. He's an avid amateur astronomer, and he's been collecting meteorites for several years now, and he will be the guest speaker at the Astronomical Society of Benalla, or the Benalla Astronomical Society talk tonight in Benalla. Now, that's at the Benalla Christian School. Is that right, Trevor?
That's right, yep.
Which is, you said it's in Sydney Road?
Yes, I believe it's in Sydney Road.
Okay,
yep.
And it's a gold coin donation, but get along to hear Trevor. And what time is it all kicking off, Trevor?
7:30, and don't forget to bring your cameras.
Okay, for photos?
Quite welcome to take photos, particularly of the kids holding a piece of the moon.
That would be that'd be something to see, and just to see the collection of meteorites as well. Trevor, Fascinating stuff. It's been great to chat to you, and I hope you get a good crowd there tonight. And thanks for speaking to us this morning.
That's okay. It's been great.
Good on you, Trevor Hand there, who's based down in Melbourne, but coming up to Benalla tonight to talk meteorites. 20 minutes past 7 on ABC Goulburn Murray.